And welcome to Poppy's Workshop and the live stream. So I've been off for a little while. I wound up getting COVID. Oh joy, oh joy, oh joy. So I finally tested oh, negative on Friday. I had tested positive almost, yeah, it was a week earlier that I had tested positive. Needless to say, I am not uh, fully at 100%. Um, so I am going to be a little bit weak. Um, I'm going to be coughing a lot. I do okay for a little bit, and then it just kind of builds up. The sinuses, I'll tell you, this was miserable. The first thing, of course, is the flu-like symptoms. I had upper respiratory. I had the sinuses, the headache, the body aches. And then I had a fever of, it was usually between 100 and 101. Had that for almost 3 days, and then it finally broke, and I was feeling a little bit better. But the big issue right now is still the upper respiratory and what is it? Just the tiredness. And yeah. I think it was well, it would have been Monday-ish. Yeah, I think it was Monday. I wound up losing my sense of taste and smell. Um, so, hey, Dances with Aardvarks. Welcome. So I'm just telling everybody, darn sausage fingers, yes. Telling everybody that I am getting over COVID. That's why I haven't been around for 2 weeks. And still feeling weak, upper respiratory, and yeah, so just not quite right, which kind of sucks. And then also lost my sense of taste and smell. Um, so that brings us up to the present. Where I am at with that, last time it took me almost a year to get my sense of taste and smell back, and that sucks royally. I really hate it. So, I'm going to try and go at least an hour and kind of go from there. So let's get back to what I've been working on. I mean, of course, I have not been out in the studio except a little bit yesterday. I got to switch my screen here so I can make sure that my live feed is doing okay. Yeah, there we go. So this is the Sume design that I'm working on. And I did a little bit of work yesterday when I was on John's show. But again, I just could not concentrate. So talking about this, this is a boondoggle, to be quite honest. My mistake, of course, is going with a triple stack of three different types of wood. So we have I don't even remember what the heck I have here. Mahogany, oak, and I forgot what else. Good heavens, my mind is shot. So please forgive me. But anyway, the big issue is number one is a triple stack, and it's coming apart a little bit because I did it differently. Figures. Um, First of all, doing a triple stack, I normally don't do triples this thick. The other issue is using three different types of wood, so you're talking about different types of grain as the blade is going through. Let me get where you can see. Let me get my pointer here. So, um, so as you're going through, you've got a heavy grain going this way. You've got a more of a speckled grain this way, and then a long grain going another way. So depending on what angle I'm at, I'm chattering like crazy. The other issue, and I still support it, is normally I will CA glue. Let me do it this way. Let's see. Yeah. Normally I would CA glue, in, some big spots here, up and down the whole thing. But the problem is then all this wood gets lost. Um, you lose so much. And if you look at the amount here, you're talking 8 inches by, yeah, 4 inches. I can build some toys. I can do some love spoons and stuff like that. All kinds of different things I can do. Um, so I elected to use double sticky tape, and then because of the different grain and it was kind of warping out a little bit, it got a little bit difficult to control. Oh, sound is a little bit low. Okay, let me boost that up and see if that helps a little bit. Okay, so here we go. I just boosted the sound up. Let me know how that sounds. I think part of it is that I don't have a whole lot of. Let me make sure my microphone is close too. I don't have a lot of breath right now. So hopefully boosting it up a little bit. Hold it. Hopefully I boosted it up for you. So just let me know if you can hear. If not, I still have a little bit more. Oh, good. I was going to say I have a little bit more headroom um, on the adjustments. Um, I'm trying to balance when I turn the air handling system on and then start cutting that you don't hear all that as well. So what I may do is lower it a little bit, or at least warn you to lower it. I don't know. So anyway, cutting through 3 different species is really stupid. Uh, John kind of, not that he took me to task on it, but he immediately saw it and brought it up. And he said, man, you shouldn't be doing that. And he is absolutely correct. And I'm at the point now where it is just pure stubbornness. Uh, I should rip off that bottom piece. And again, I'm using double sticky tape, so it seems to be holding. Some of it comes apart. So I wound up using packing tape on all the edges to kind of stop some of that warpage. But I think there's still some in the middle here. So that is causing an issue. Um, so this is what I would call setting up a piece that is, just had the word on the tip of my tongue. Um, Not beyond redemption. So normally if you do a double stack, you can cut a double stack at almost the same speed, if not the same speed, as a single board. So basically you're doubling your output. You add a third of the same piece of wood. Now, you're not going to be able to cut it quite as fast, but the hope is that you don't lower it. So I just remember the word, the point of diminishing returns. So in this case, I am doing way less than a third of the speed that I normally would. So this is taking a lot longer than it should. So that is definitely an issue. Let me start getting set up here. So that's kind of a long short of it. The other thing that I'm doing is I was experimenting with the size holes. You can see here that, let's see, I'm trying to get it so that we can see. Let me switch back to my screen here. That's the one slow thing here. Okay, so if you look down here, you can see that these are very small holes, and really the maximum drill saw blade, I think, is a number 3. That's about the largest size that I can fit through there. That's great for these small, thin lines. I'll use my number 3, or maybe go down, to like a number. I think I have number 1s. I know I have 0 1s. I've got to check the size of my spiral. I thought I had a 0 spiral, which I may use some of those. Now, if you move up here, you'll see that I've increased the size of the holes, mainly because old man eyes, old man hands. it just makes it a whole lot easier to thread it. So if I go like that, boom, I'm in. Very easy. And the other thing that I like about the larger hole, giving me space so that when I pull up, my blade is already pretty much vertical. You know, very little adjustment. So I go like that, and you notice the board jumped. So I'm gonna loosen it up again, give it a good pull. Oh, yeah, there we go. And now that feels better on the tension. I'm checking top and bottom. All right, so I think we are just about set up. I think you can see what I'm cutting. And I'm going to get cutting, stop talking, and go from there. The one thing I want to point out, I don't think you can see. So in another video, one of the last videos I put out before I got sick, oh, that's coming out. I found a faucet aerator. Let's see, I thought I had some here. Yeah, here we go. Where is it? I have the broken one, my first attempt. So one of the issues that I have is, especially with small pieces that I want to keep, that number one, is that this suction is so much that it sucks up sometimes the pieces that I want to keep, especially in intarsia. That's one of the issues. So I was able to find almost a 3/4, a little bit larger than 3/4 inch, which is this size of my top vac, that actually fits in. So the air goes through fine, the dust particles go through fine, but any of the small pieces are larger than the honeycomb, boom, they get stopped. So I have it taped right now just as an experiment. Now I'm going to decide what I want to do. I'd like to be able to get it to friction fit. So there are, oh, let me bring it back so you can see it. There it is. This is one whole one. Some little ridges here, and I think that if I lightly use my rotary tool on that, I should be able to knock those down just a little bit so that it's a better fit rather than gluing it. That'll be my other option there. So there's that. The other reason is I can't use my cyclone, that catches the dust, separates the big pieces and everything, because I had switched to a new air handling system, and I lose about 50% of the suction on it. It's only a 1 horsepower. That was my mistake. So I'm going to have to save up a few shekels and get like a 3 horsepower, then I can bring it back. But I still will leave that on, in particular when I'm doing my intarsia. So let's get started. I'm going to turn on the air handling system. And I think I am going to lower the volume a little bit. Oh, I saw a question before I start. No, that is not a 3D printed adapter. If you're talking the orange one, let me bring that up. Let me bring that up. No, this is a lock line, and this is part from the kit of the lock line. Though, if you have a 3D printer, that may be a brilliant idea. I'm not sure if a 3D printer can do this type of, with the small honeycombs. Even if it's a little bit larger, as long as it stops, pieces, because most of the pieces we do. So yeah, you could probably 3D print something with a little bit larger honeycomb as long as it stops it. But yeah, Lockline, I bought the whole, actually 2 kits, and then 2 extension kits without these orange pieces. Because I also use it, let me switch so you can see. I also use it on my drill press, so you can see there, right by the drill press, that I have 2 of the blue that I think are 7 inches a piece. I have the orange nozzle, and they have different adapters in the kit. Let me switch back there and bring that back down. So yeah, that's that's what I'm doing. Um, and let's go from there. I think that's it for the questions right now, but I'll leave it there, and let's get started a little bit here, because I have been yakking. I forgot for how long, too long. So let's get the magnifying glass down. I forgot whether it was 3 or 5 times magnifying glass. So here we go. So I think this blade may be dull, as if you look at the angle that I have my line right now, my blade is turning like crazy. So I think if I can't gain control of this blade, yeah, before I get any further. I was using it yesterday, of course, and I forgot how much I put on it. And that's the other issue with this particular type of triple stack, is that, let's see, it doesn't look too discolored, a little bit discolored from the heat. It does tend to dull the blades very, very quickly, unfortunately. So let's scuff it. Sorry, I should warn you that I'm going to cough. The thing that I really like about this new dust handling system is how quiet it is in comparison to my DeWalt shop vac. You know, I don't have hearing protection on right now, and it's really quiet, which is nice. So I'm just kind of doing a little bit on the back so that I can reverse out, also stretch that blade, and there we go. All right, let's try that again. Yeah, trying to get motivated to get back into the workshop was really hard. I was like, that's too light. It just didn't feel right. There we go. I just felt weak. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to try and start at a deeper angle here. See if I can get on that line sooner. And I think I need more speed. I'm running at about 80%. Yeah, much better. But yeah, as I said, I'm at the stubborn stage where I should take that 1/4 inch off. But it's like, oh, I'm so far into this. And you can see how slow I have to go. The other issue, of course, is with cherry, is it scorches very easy. And even without my ability to smell what little I do have, I must have at least a couple percent, I can smell the scorching when it occurs. Like, it would probably occur, not so bad there. So this section that I'm cutting out now, my gut tells me that my blade will be dull before I get to the end of it. That's how quickly it's dulling my blades. So what I may do after doing a large section like this is go to some smaller sections that I can still use a duller blade. Maybe a stupid idea. I mean, I'll give it a try. So I'm kind of doing the clouds here. The only thing that I like about this triple stack is for some reason, especially when the blade is sharp, the control, like being able to do clouds like this, just feels a little bit easier. Weird. Yeah, it's staying on the line nice. So a lot of these I will cut the middle piece out and then revisit some of the inner details. Because what I'm trying to also be careful with is if there's any design issues, that would give me weak points, such as in the hair. But yeah, you can see how slow I have to go. Yeah, but I'm not in a race, so part of me says, okay, that's all right. All right, I gotta pay attention to this turn here. Hey Archie, welcome back. Yeah, I really love Sumé designs. Her work is so intricate. I like her scriptural accuracy. I have in mind, um, this is actually kind of funny, and one of the reasons why I'm doing a triple stack. There is a judge, yeah, in Providence, Rhode Island, and if you watch on YouTube, it's called Caught in Providence. And I forgot how old he is. I think he's like 87. And he is one of the most compassionate judges that I've ever seen. And I used to live in Providence, so I know him in passing. I've never gone before him. But I lived in Providence for about a year back in before I got married. Call it the early, I think it was 83, 84. I worked in downtown Providence. I had been in the courthouse a number of times making deliveries. Yeah, see, I hear the chattering getting louder now, which tells me that my blade is dulling. So I'm not getting a lot of goodness out of this. This is a number 3 Flying Dutchman. I don't think, I do not have number 3 Pegasus, if I remember correctly. I think I have a 7 and 10. But anyway, he was diagnosed with cancer and is undergoing chemo. And, you know, Providence, Rhode Island, and him being Italian American as I am, I'm also Hungarian. The resurrection is a very important part of his belief system, and of course mine. I'm an Anabaptist. And I figured, you know, this may be a nice thing to send. So I would, depending on which piece I like and how it looks, may send it to Judge Caprio. His name is Francis, or Frank Caprio. So yeah, it's called Caught in Providence. Check it out. As I said, his compassion is amazing. And one of the things that he says is that he has a heart under his robe, which I think more judges need to have that philosophy. It's one thing to be to the letter of the law. It's one thing, you do have to be able to stop people from doing the behaviors they should not be doing. But at the same token, you have to take into consideration their circumstances. And if you've ever been to Providence, you'll know that it's a large community of people who have come to this country. I think Judge Caprio is a first-generation American. His father immigrated, like my grandparents did, to this country for a better life from Italy. And yeah, so I just thought it might be a nice thing to do. But I do need to get back to toy making. My toy supply is getting a little bit low, and I need to get it into a couple of the local fire departments here. That's my goal at the moment. So I should be placing an order for some wood, even though I do have some. To probably get, 10 or 20 toys done easily. The ones that I like to make. Let's see, I'm going to get this down a little bit. Yeah, I'm trying to keep my puffer out of the way so that you can see what I'm doing. I've got to move the camera a little bit closer and higher so I don't have to worry about that stuff. I'll give you a better view of the blade on the line. Let's see, Archie got to the sawmill the other day for the first time. 4 years, good heavens. And the equipment was working okay? Wow. Yeah, the closest I get is when I lived in New York, I used to go into the woods and we cut firewood. That's about it, the closest I get. So pretty much my wood that I get is generally either, it's no more than 24 inches long. Usually I have them rip them into 12 inches long. And either 6/8 or 12 inches wide. I could do 20. Do you like the 24? No, I don't do 24 wide. And it's already planed out to the proper thickness because I don't have the equipment to plane. Boy, that's getting shattery. The other thing that I did not do, usually I use, let me stop that for a second. Usually I use shelf liner, clear shelf liner, and I did not in this case. Shelf liner is a good thing. It helps with lubrication. I probably should have done these top and bottom. And maybe the blade would last a little bit longer. I don't know. So, what did you cut in your mill? What did you cut out? And do you have any specific projects that you're going to use it? So here I'm coming to my thumb. Well, not my thumb, the thumb of the angel. And I want to be real careful because I'm doing a continuous line, as you can see. So I'm kind of staying to the outside of line. So here's the critical part here. Yeah, that was pretty successful. So if you look at the details here, I'm going to cut that notch. So I'll show you a concern that I have. Let me get my pointer out here, and I think you'll be able to see it. So here, I'm going to go here, do the wing, and complete this section. However, if you take a look, there is a line here to create the arm. And then there's a break and kind of the shape of the hair to the chest and face. The issue that I have is that if I cut this completely through to here, this is the only part here, and let me make sure before I open my mouth, yep, and here that is supporting this part of the wing. And the arm is supported here, here, and when you do this, ultimately here. Same thing with this wing here, is if I do this, you have a support here and here. I see this less of a problem than this here. This is a very weak point. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. What I may do is come in just a little bit and then drill a hole here and maybe do here and here so that I have longer, multiple supports for the wing itself. Well, there you go. That's actually a great question. Any of it's going to be carved. That was going to be my second thought, is that I may just bring out my chisels and do some light carving of these details here. For the top one, that's no problem. But for the bottom, that means I have to do it by memory, or by picture actually, because there is no stencil on it. And to print out another stencil, try and overlay it to be exact, I think would take more effort. So it's going to be a combination. But as you can see, most of what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out all the big sections, and then I'll revisit. I'll go in and maybe say, oh, I'm going to just carve, see what's left, and then, like this here, I will definitely put a small drill hole, use a zero blade, and do some of these here. But yeah, great question. So I'll do small accents, and a lot of times I stop early if I think it's going to make things a little bit too thin. And that's one thing that you do need to be careful of when you're doing more fret work, when you're doing work like this. I don't want to criticize Sue May because her work is beautiful, but you do have to be aware when you're cutting, and also the type of wood, the thickness, and everything like that, what's going to happen. So that's the other reason why this is going to take longer, because again, I'm going to cut out all the big sections, see how things are supported, and then I'm going to pencil in where I want to. Let's see, and then see where I should or could cut versus carving. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do with this piece, is do a combination of wood carving and the scroll saw work. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out as I came to it. So that's one thing when you're, especially when you're cutting as slow as I am, is look at where you're cutting, try and look at the lines. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in just a little bit here. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to stick with the plan, and I'm just going to do outlines. So it's a good idea as you're cutting is to look, especially when you get into the accents, and say, all right, what happens if I cut from here to here? And again, with fretwork and stuff like that. And this is, we can say this is common sense, but a lot of times you get a design and you want to trust the designer 100% that they considered it. And they either A, might have missed it, or B, they made a specific design decision that was best for them, and they were willing to take um, that risk. Now, a lot of people would put a backer on this, and I may put a backer on my oak piece because the back of it is the back of the oak is a little bit screwy, so I will definitely put a backer on that. I'm hoping that this top piece, mahogany, I do not have to. So that's the other thing to consider is are you or are you not going to put a backer on it so that you can just throw some glue to it and it will be supported. But then also consider that while you're working, you've got that weak piece, and if you hit it, you're going to break it. So be very aware of that. If you say, you know something, I'm going to cut that wing and arm as the designer intended because I'm going to put a backer on it, which is fine. But I would definitely put a piece of tape or supporting wood to protect that piece. All right. As I always say, home stretch. And yeah, this is, actually it's tracking really well still, surprisingly. There we go. I have to cut through it. There we go. Oh good, you fixed your puffer, yay! Yeah, in terms of carving them, that's what Di Love Spoons does. I love watching him. He's been gone for a month now. Usually streams on Monday. Usually I miss him, unfortunately. So yeah, let's look at some of these pieces, and you can actually see. Let me get. Yeah, I think that'll show. You can actually see some of the scorching of the wood. That's the quarter. So yeah, I'm scorching like crazy. Wow. Wow, yeah. So that's the other issue with this triple stack is let me see if I can smell. Barely. Man, and I bet that smells horrid. So yeah, you can see with all the fine turns that I'm doing as I'm scorching, which is okay. But yeah, he does the stacking. He also does stacks of different types of wood. But if you look at his basic design, for the most part, they are fairly simple cuts. Where's my pointer? Okay, well, oh, there it is. Something fell. So I'm trying to get this piece out. Let me do this in my lap. You can't see it. Here we go. So I'm trying to get 3 pieces out there. So there you go. And you can see the scorching and everything. So yeah, this is a great learning experience. But yeah, Di, what I really like about what he and I think Thomas is his father, what they do, they're all original designs, and that he has some fancy designs, but usually I see that in his fancy designs he doesn't do too many layers. He has done some triples, but most of the times he'll do a double stack. Oh man, I can't see. So let's see if I can guesstimate where this one is. I wish I could learn to feed the opposite way sometimes, but I always, always, always bend the blade. So it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'll get this threaded one way or another. So yeah, if you wiggle this around, you can get the blade pretty much close to center. Tighten it up, and then, yep, see how my board jumped? Now I'll just loosen it up and just give it an extra pull now that it's straight. And yep, that feels good. So, but good, I'm glad you got your puffer fixed. I'll tell you, before I had a decent, let's see, I see all that wiggling there. Before I had a decent top back, that puffer is absolutely mandatory. Now, I think I've mentioned this before. When I actually received this, my puffer arm was broken. So for my Excalibur, what I wound up doing, and I actually learned later on, but I wound up getting a puffer arm, this one here, off of Amazon, and it is for the DeWalt saw. So it's a little bit longer than the original, which is great, because I can actually wrap around and point this way, which I prefer. I don't like blowing the dust towards me, especially when I don't have the upper. So that's that's very important to me. I believe I could have gotten the 1/4 inch lock line, because what I had to do is these two joints here are actually CA glued. I got it CA glued to the metal part here, and this is held for a year. But when I first did it, it came off, so it's like, oh, what am I going to do? But I had to rotary tool that out a little bit, as I say, make it rounder, and get that going. So, yeah. So if you ever have issues and you have the Excalibur, double check the measurement, and if you have the tool and everything, or you can just heat this up and get it on, you can get a much longer and blow it that way away from you if you don't have a top back. But I'll tell you, top back is a wonderful thing. So there you go. Let's see, making sure everything is vented out right. 3 pounds of sawdust on top of the workplace. Oh, heck no. If you came to my workshop, you would be very surprised at how little dust there is visible in my workshop. I mean, you've got a little bit here. You've got a little bit, on the top here. Typical dust. But when I'm working, this wood is a little bit harder to suck up, but I got a little bit on the surface here, but otherwise not a whole lot. I hate all that dust. I don't like wearing a mask. If you watch Di Love Spoons, he wears a full face mask, basically a respirator. But if you look at his shop, it's a very dusty shop. That's a preference. I'm assuming he would rather work without hearing the noise. Like I hear suction coming from here. Behind me, I hear the very low hum. I think it's probably around 60 decibels or something. Not bad at all. I'm not wearing hearing protection right now, and I actually have it on my workbench. I should be wearing it, but then I can't hear myself speak, so then it becomes problematic to speak as I am working, which Di does not do because of the mask. And that's something you have to weigh out. But the other thing that I do, oh man, this is dull. This is dull. So yeah, I'm going through blades like easy. So I think what I may do is try and do a smaller section with the dull. See if I can get away with that. But I'm trying to do the detail, and this is less detailed. So basically, we're talking just a little squarish polygon, whatever you want to call it. You do have to worry about inhaling dust as well, because even though I'm sucking up a lot of dust, I may be actually breathing in dust too. So again, that's something you need to consider, because there are times I walk out of here and I've got this dry cough. So it's like, oh, stupid. Yeah, I can do the small sections. There we go. Yeah, I can do the small sections here. But yeah, I hope Dai is on tomorrow. I miss watching him. I've learned so many techniques from him. He's a joy to watch. And then when I hear, I'm assuming it's his children come in, you know, and you hear their voices in the background once in a while. It's like, man, that's freaking great. I can't wait till my grandson is old enough. I mean, it's going to be a number of years that he'll be able to do that and come into the workshop. So I'm just kind of nibbling that corner to maintain that sharp corner. And with this type of design, you have design flexibility, of course. But back on the dust, one of the other things I do, since I have a big roll-up door, garage door, this room is, I still put my Mustang in it. It's a garage that is basically a 1.5 to 1 3/4 size. So even when I have the Mustang in here, I can still work. But what I also do is I'll open that door up, I'll bring out my gas leaf blower, and then blow the place. Ooh, yeah. Oh, you see all those pop out? Yeah. So let's take a look. Yeah, I am scorching. Oh, that's hot. Wow! I can feel the heat. So, being that this blade is dull, it's working a lot harder. So that is one of the other issues of using the dull blade. And when I look here, I can see the discoloration from the heat. So I may do one more and that's it. So yeah, another great question, Archie. Do I destroy the line? Depends. In this case, I am trying to split the line as best as possible. So let me tilt that. So you can see I stayed on the line pretty much 100%. There are times, again, this is where you have to make a design decision. All right, it's the same thing like my toys, and when I'm doing Intarsia, my goal is I split the lines. A lot of times what I do is when I get a design, I'll bring it into Photoshop, and I will quote unquote retrace the lines. So I use the trace command for that, and I prefer a 2-point line as the thickest, which is about the size of the blade. So my goal is to stay right on that. So what that means is, for example, what I'm doing in Intarsia is I only have to worry about the kerf when I put everything back together. So, let's say that this was Intarsia, and if you cut all these pieces out, by the time you got to the bottom, you may be 1/8 of an inch off. So you learn to adjust. So, if you're using a 3 or a 5 or even a 7, that is a big kerf. That's why you'll see a lot of people using those 1s and 0 1s to minimize the kerf. But yeah, straight down the middle. Sinatra style. Yeah. Um, wait a sec, I'm gonna cough here. Hold on to your ears. So yeah. Now to counter that just a little bit, looking at this design, there may be times when I'm going down. I'm not going to do it here, but let's say that this line was really close, and it's like, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to the left. And I may go totally off the line, or I may just go a hair to the left of the line. So again, the rule of thumb is I split, but depending on the design, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit to the left. I'm gonna go a little bit to the right. And again, you've probably heard me say this many, many times. This is why you generally see me cutting is I cut with a scrap to the right because I find that my blades drift to the right, and I'd rather have them drift into the scrap wood than into my active design. So you'll see what I also do is I will shade once I create that outline. I can lay a shade layer down, and I can see where I don't want to cut. But that also makes it easier for me to adjust what I'm doing and saying, like here, I can say, let's say that was too close. And it was a very thin piece, and I said, I think I'm going to either stop early or I'm going to go to the right of the of the line. So that is always my secondary. But yeah, it's just kind of how I work. And again, remember, my way is not the right way. It is a way. You can take all of it. You can take part of it, or none of it. There's a lot of things that I say, hey, that's a great idea. Let me give it a try. And it doesn't work for me. So I experiment. I just learned very quickly, something? A 1.5-inch triple stack, half quarter with 3 different wood is not a smart idea. I should have done two 1/2 of the same wood with the grain going in the same direction, and left it at that. But where I work, they have this expression, I absolutely hate it, but I'm going to say it now, is they say, oh, we learn by doing. It's like, oh, hell no. But yeah, that's what I did, is I learned by doing, and I learned very quickly that that's something that you don't want to do again. So let me nibble this just a little bit. Again, you'll see how I do some of my turns with a little nibble. You may say, hey, that's cool, doesn't work for me. Or it may be, on these particular type of turns, I'll do it, but not on any others. And I think I actually started doing the nibble turn when I was less experienced and had issues making quick, sharp turns, trying to maintain. So here I'm off the line because of the way that cuts. So now I'm going to revisit, and I'm going to revisit, let's see, and I don't have to, but I want to get just a little bit sharper edge here. So I'll go back and revisit just a little bit. I think this is actually a V-notch, so I'm going to widen this just a hair. Here we go. So yeah, this dull blade is actually working okay on these small ones. So I'm going to do another one because I'm a glutton for punishment. Oop. Yeah, I'm going to have to check, make sure I got all my wood out. Yeah, everything's popping out on the floor. That's the other reason why I also throw the blower. Oh man, once in a while, is that I've got all these tiny little pieces, and I can get them out that way. And actually, here we go. Check this out. Ugh. Fat fingers. So yeah, here's a piece. Let's say, again, if I was doing intarsia and this was a piece that I needed, now I don't have to go fishing for it. So that's like, yay! All right. So yeah, saw that little jump in my piece. Double check that. Yep. All right. I think we're doing pretty good here. I think if John comes on today, I may join his stream. After this, I'll do some of my Sunday chores. So as I said, I'm going back to work tomorrow. But what I'm going to do, because it is COVID, I do have to go in with a mask. I'm going to go in my usual 5 in the morning when nobody else is there, get some of my work done that I cannot do from home due to the nature of my work, and get in, get out before anybody else comes in, and then I can do my other work from home. I have a doctor's appointment, just so happened, and get some direction from him. Hold on. Cough. Because I had a pretty serious case of COVID. And get some direction as to if he still wants me to limit being around people or to what extent. But I have 2 sources of where I potentially got the COVID from. I lean towards one of my fellow staff members I work with. He came in on the Monday holiday wearing a mask. He had tested positive the evening before. And came in with a mask, which is, a very nice thing to do. But the problem is, I cannot hear very well to begin with. I usually wear hearing aids. I didn't have them in at the time since it was early in the morning. Smooth that edge off a little bit. And jump that up. There we go. Look at all those pieces coming up. Then he left early. So I'm sorry. He lowered his mask to speak to me so I could read his lips. And I think that may be it, because it was 2 days later. I think it was 2 days later he actually tested positive. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do now. Hold on. There we go. He got COVID, but he's younger than me, much healthier officer. And center that. So that was one source. The other, generally I do not go into, and it's been this way for the past, since COVID, I generally don't go into meetings, into the meeting rooms, especially this one by our office, because when you close the doors, there is zero ventilation. I'll do one-on-ones, maybe 2 people in a room, but generally, if there's more than 2 or 3 people, I do not go into meeting rooms. So when we have meetings, we'll do VTCs, video teleconferencing. They'll run a stream, and I'll just do it from my desk. That way I can get other work done. I mean, come on. We are very meeting-centric. I think we do too many meetings. But anyway, the VTC was about, wait a sec, that very day, after this one gentleman left, we had a staff member and the VTC was not working. So this was a very important meeting for us. So I went in, and no sooner I started feeling crappy a couple days later. By Friday, I had symptoms, and I think it was the next morning I tested positive for COVID. And before that, my wife was saying, "You got COVID, you got COVID," and here she is. The next week, she's going to be driving with my daughter, her husband, and my grandson to Florida to Disney for a vacation. And it's like, no, I don't want to catch COVID. So I went into complete quarantine. I did not see my wife the entire time. We developed a way of coexisting, not seeing each other, but we put a table out by my room, my office, that also has a bed, so I'm sleeping in there. And so she put my food, take my plates and all that, and it got to a point where we were texting each other, says, "Okay, I'm going to go take a shower." I said, "Okay, just knock on my door when you go by, and then I can come out and take care of some things." And then I lay down disinfectant spray. So, I mean, it was a hilarious week. So, needless to say, it's like, man. But she didn't get it. She tested the night before she was to leave, so that way she could still drive with my daughter and grandson. Otherwise, she was going to drive separately. Oh, there we go. So that was that was funny. But being that this is serious, the usual protocol is 10 days isolation. Um, NATO has 5 days, but being that this was a serious, um, we'll see what happens, or maybe it's 10 days with the mask. But I will go back to I am nada, no way in hell going into conference rooms anymore. And I'm going to make that very clear to my boss. Mainly, and I've told this before, is that I am on medication that makes me susceptible to lung infection. So bronchitis and pneumonia and all those lovely things I am susceptible to. So especially during flu season, it's definitely not a smart idea to be going in. And I'll tell you, this cough is miserable because my sides hurt from coughing, and of course, it irritates the lungs even more. Oop, I'm too far forward. Come on, baby. Back up. I'm going to nibble that, make that sharp edge. All right, Archie. Hey, you take care, because I know, what is it? What was it, 5:30? Wait, 4:30. 4:30 your time right now? So, yeah, it's getting close to evening chores for you. But, hey, I really appreciate you joining. Um, me being able to chatter and interact with you a little bit makes this go by a lot faster, and I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who comes on. But yeah, probably next week I'll do 9:30 again next week, and I think if I'm not done with this, which I probably won't, I'll do some toys, or if I'm on the carving board, um, we'll figure that out. And I'm not a super good carver, not like Guy. I hold my own, But yeah, we'll see where I'm at with this. I do have to get it done by what? The end of February, I think, is Easter. So we got a few people in mind for this. So hey, you have a great evening. And I know I'm running close to an hour now, and I'll probably be stopping for a bit. Because actually 11 o'clock is my lunchtime, believe it or not, because I'm up at 2:30 in the morning. Or actually more 3 o'clock now. I've been trying to sleep later. Yeah, a whole half hour. So yeah. There we go. Scorched like crazy. It's going to be a very interesting effect on that, especially when I finish it. Having some of the scorching, making it part of the design, I guess. You know, let's see. Let's do this one. Yeah, I'm glad I switched to the larger drill bit. And I was going to say, don't be afraid. Oh, man, I can't see. Can't feel it. Did that go through? Maybe that didn't go through. There we go. What I was going to say is, ooh, I have something underneath there. I probably bent that. That is not going through. Ah! Yeah, I bent it. That's a good time to stop. Oh boy, that is way too funny. It's like, you gotta be, what I was gonna say is, don't be afraid to go to a larger hole. I could have easily gone larger on these. It just makes it so much easier to thread because you wind up bending the blade. Let's see, let me get that out of the way. You can't see it. Let me get this out. There we go. So this is what I just did. So I bent that blade. Yay. That's intelligent. That's way too funny. But yeah, this blade has seen good use. It is discolored. Let me get this under the magnifying glass here. Yeah, it is discolored, especially here in this zone, the cutting zone. Very dark here, so there's some scorching. And if you look carefully and compare, say, to the top where it's not being used, compared to down here, you can see a little bit that the blades have taken, a little bit. It doesn't take much to dull them out. A little bit of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to search my pile of blades and see if I have some Pegas, because one of the things that I find with Pegas is that they're really good with thick wood. They're really good in maintaining their sharpness. Plus, they're aggressive. So I think this would be a good candidate. So if I do have a number 3 or a number 5 with the larger holes, I'm going to try and see what the Pegas will do. Again, my go-to generally is the Flying Dutchman 5, and I'm using 3 here. Those are my go-to, but I'm always willing to try something out. I know that I'll use the Flying Dutchman, probably number 10 or number 7, to do the outline when I get to that point. So that's what I'll be using there, just because of the aggressiveness. I don't like how it finishes. To me, it does not finish as well as the Flying Dutchman, but that is one of the things that I will, quote unquote, sacrifice instead. So that's what I will be doing. I'll see if I have any. Um, I did get a sampler pack a while back, and then I found some number 10s where I got a really righteous deal on them. I got a few dozen of those. I'm not afraid to buy blades, especially when they're on sale, you know, when there's BOGOs and stuff like that. I think jeez, I've got probably close to 200 blades um, of different sizes of Flying Dutchman and such. So I'll definitely use those. Let me turn off the dust handling since I'm getting ready to close things off for anybody who is remaining. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then again, if John is on, he was on for, I didn't realize I would have come back. But again, I wasn't feeling 100%. I feel a little bit better today. Cough. Okay. So he was on for like 8 hours, then another 2. It's like, bang, boy. So if he's on, I'll do that, and I'll get some more of this done. But my intention with work this week is I'm probably just going to work half days. I'll go in again, as I said. I will go in at 5 o'clock. I'll probably bug out just shortly before 3 when people are really starting to come in. 3 after 3 hours, 8 o'clock. I'll probably leave, 7:30ish or so, and then work another couple hours from home. Then see how I feel, and try and put a couple more hours a day on this, because ideally I'd like to get most of this done this week. So that is my intention. So anyway, I think that pretty much covers everything that I'd like to do. And next week, I'll be on at 9:30. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a midweek video or not. Maybe I'll talk about the blades and stuff and do a quick 10-minute video. I'm not sure. I'm actually surprised I lasted an hour and 12 minutes so far, and have been able to yak the whole time and cut. So that's really a good thing. So anyway, may the Lord richly bless you. Make it a great day right here at Poppy's Workshop.